This is the first stage of building a custom home in our plant. At this location of the tour, you'll see floor joist assembly, finished flooring, and electrical rough-in of the floors. Okay, this is where we start to build your house. Down at the far end, we have the pre-cut floor joists cut off by a saw in another building. They are brought in and assembled on the jig at the far end. The perimeter beam is nailed on each end of those floor joists down the length of that floor section. At the far end, once that is done, this floor section here will be sheeted with 5/8 tongue and groove plywood, glued and nailed into place. Any area that will get a vinyl flooring or ceramic tile flooring will get an extra 1/4 inch subfloor for the vinyl and 3/8 for the ceramic. At that point in time, this crane will be lowered down, attached to that floor section so that it can be raised up overhead, out of the way, which will allow the floor section at the far end to be brought forward up against these stops here, squared, pinned. At that point in time, then we can add the 5/8 T&G subfloor. At that point in time, the electrician will be able to go underneath the floor and start to wire, which will be actually the basement of your home. He will lay out the wiring to their respective locations for the receptacles and switches and everything else. He will drill the holes for all of the wiring through to the electrical panel. At the same point in time, the floor installer is up top laying the carpet and the vinyl in their respective areas as well. The nice thing about laying the carpet and vinyl at that stage is that there are no interior walls to work around, so he can roll his product straight through over top of the wall areas, cut it out in the appropriate areas, and have an easier installation and a better installation because the carpeting can be stretched tighter. At this location on the tour, you'll see the walls being assembled and placed onto the floor section. The next stage of construction would be the walls. This is the wall table jig right here. The walls are built in sections. The jig is built in 2 sections. At the far section is the preliminary stage. The wall studs are cut outside on the component saw, which cuts them to their exact length. They are brought in, laid out on the jig. Top and bottom plates are fastened. Any area that has a window or door opening, the studding is left out wide enough so that the window and door openings are pre-built at another table. They're carried across with the door or window header fastened to the king posts and dropped into the wall section. Once that is done, that floor section is brought forward on this jig. This jig has an air press on it that allows it to press the wall. Once it's square, we can then install the drywall board to 1/2 of that wall. The drywall is glued and screwed at that point in time, only to the one side. We leave one side of that wall open so that later on we can install it and get at the interior portion of the wall for nailing and fastening, and also for mechanical, so that we can install the electrical and plumbing from one side later on. You'll notice at the far end of the jig we have a roll of vapor barrier plastic. If your house is 62 feet long, your outside walls are 62 feet long, we can pull that plastic over the entire length of that wall section in one piece. No cuts, no slits. It makes an excellent vapor barrier system that cannot be achieved on any other type of construction, as they are typically vapor barriered room by room. Another crew will pick the walls out of this storage pit, take them across, and install them on the awaiting floor section. This floor section is in progress. The 2 end walls are installed first, and then the long exterior wall is installed. So we have 3 sides in place here. So then all of the interior walls are then set in place and pin nailed. Once they're in place, then we bring in the last long wall section, which is the marriage wall. It's transported down and it is installed as a final piece. At this location on the tour, you will see assembly of the roof and the process to have it placed on the walls. What we have here is a row of trusses that have been strapped together. The trusses are upside down. So what you see with this portion of the roof is an upside down truss, which will be the interior finished ceiling of your home when you get it. So that allows us to strap these trusses, pull the vapor barrier over the entire roof ceiling section in one piece, which is not broken in any place, and then we can put the drywall board on top of the strapping, glue it and screw it there with gravity in our favor, meaning we do not have to hold that drywall board over top of our heads and struggle with it to get a nice installation. Once that is complete, we can attach the crane to this ceiling roof section again, lift it up, flip it around, lower it back down to the floor, reattach it, and now it is ready to transport across the factory and set down onto the appropriate set of walls. Once that is done, we have a module looking similar to this. We have the walls in place, we have the roof section in place. You'll notice that this roof section is flattened off and doesn't look like a typical roof. The reason for that is because we have height restrictions to transport down the highway. We have to remain under those height requirements. So we have an engineered roof system that allows us to incorporate a hinge into it. And that hinge allows us to flatten off the top section of that roof. Once it gets to site, we will attach the crane to that roof section and raise that roof up to its final location, and there'll be the king post is actually hinged underneath there as well, and it will flip down and into its proper location and make the final engineered roof system. At this location on the tour, you'll see electrical and plumbing rough-in for the house. At this point in time, the electrician will go around and lay out the locations of switches and receptacles and drill holes down through the floor. The wires are under the floor already. He will go underneath the floor after drilling and push all the wires up, ready to be installed onto the boxes for receptacles. And from the switches, then the ceiling and roof section is in place. We'll drill holes up into the roof area and install the lights as well. The plumber is hooking up the tubs, fastening the tubs into their proper location, hooking up the water supply lines, the hot and cold, stubbing them down through into the basement, ready for the on-site contractor to connect once the house arrives at the final site. The ABS drainage pipe as well is stubbed down through into the basement and taken up into the attic, and all the venting connections are made in the attic, and the 3-inch vent stack is then taken up through the roof. At this location on the tour, you'll see the installation of paint and drywall. On the exterior of the house, you'll see the insulation being installed, wall sheeting, and shingles being installed. Once that is done, we then can finish drywall boarding the house. The boarders will come in, they will install the drywall board, and then on the outside, at the same time, we're installing the roof sheeting and the wall sheeting. Before we install the roof sheeting, though, we will insulate it and the wall sheeting. We will blow into the roof an R50 cellulose insulation, and into the walls we will install an R22 fiberglass bad insulation. And after that has been accomplished, we will glue and nail 7/16 OSB sheeting onto the walls, and onto the roof we will staple 1/2-inch plywood. Our shingles are professionally installed here at the factory. We offer a variety of shingles that range from a 25-year limited warranty to a 30-year limited lifetime warranty. On the marriage wall, we are installing this extra layer of sheeting. This is what we call the marriage wall plywood, and its sole purpose is to add rigidity. As I mentioned earlier, we have finished drywall boarding the interior walls of the house, and now we are ready to start taping them. We will apply 3 coats of mud to the walls, And after that has been done, we will sand the walls, and then we will apply one sealer coat to the walls, and after that we will apply one finish coat of our standard paint to the walls. We have a variety of colors that we offer as an upgrade paint, which can be also chosen to upgrade the style and the color of your home. At this location on the tour, you'll see finishing of the paint, drywall, and ceiling texture, as well as sealing of the marriage wall. Next on down the line, the next couple of days, we are in the same process of mudding the walls and painting the walls. On the ceiling, we will apply a ceiling texture that is called a California knockdown. That is our standard texture on the ceiling. This is the kitchen of your home, and the cabinets will be installed at a later date as we work our way on down the line. Finished plumbing will be installed as well. This room here, we have the painting done. We have the two coats, one coat of primer, as I mentioned earlier, and one coat of finished paint. To provide the seal at the marriage wall of your home, where the two pieces of your home come together, your home will be brought together. This seal is applied so that it is compressed, and it runs up the exterior ends of the house and across the ceiling line at the attic. At this location on the tour, you will see the process of finishing of the exterior of the house. Next job to be done down the assembly line would be to install the exterior finishes. Typically, we offer vinyl siding, we offer wood siding, and we also offer brick or stone. The vinyls and the woods we can install here, and we will install as much as we possibly can in the factory. To complete the on-site portion of the vinyl siding, typically the ends are left unfinished so that we can stitch the siding from one side of the unit through to the other side to provide a seamless finished exterior of your home. Stone and brick, of course, would have to be left to be installed on site after the house arrives to its site. Also, aluminum soffit and fascia is installed in the factory, and that has been done at this stage as well. And underneath of that aluminum soffit, we, for ventilation purposes, we install insulation stops, as we call it. And what that is plywood stops that are fastened to between the trusses to keep the insulation down a minimum of 2 inches to allow airflow up into the attic to provide proper ventilation in your attic, to keep your attic cool in the summertime and keep the extra ice from melting on your roof in the wintertime as well. We build those stops out of our own scrap plywood that we generate here in the factory, and that's another benefit of our controlled environment in here, where we can make use of unwanted materials or unusable materials that typically would be generated from an on-site construction method. At this location of the tour, you'll see the final packaging, installation steps, and transport of the finished sections of the house. Nearing the finishing of the home, as you can see here, we have weatherproofing plastic ready to be pulled down over top of the exposed areas of the marriage wall. Once the house is complete, we will pull that plastic down, strap it at the bottom, strap it through the middle, and tie the ends up so that we can transport this house down the highway to keep the wind, water, rain, and snow from getting inside of the house at that point in time. But before we do all of that, we have a few more jobs that need to be done inside of the house. In particular, right now we have started on installing the casings, the baseboards. The electrical is being done, switches, receptacles, stove. Cabinetry will be next to come in line here, and any other options that have been purchased, such as ceramic backsplashes, will be done at this stage right now. Trims will be final coat painted. Walls will be checked for dings and dents and bruises, and touch-ups applied to those. And at that point in time, we will be ready to close the house up for final preparation. At this point in time, we have the marriage wall plastic ready to tie up the loose ends. We have site packages loaded inside of the house, the materials that we need in the first few days and the final days to finish the entire project up. We deliver with the house. The truck has been backed in underneath of this house here, ready to be lifted up. Pull the wheels off that we use to follow the house down the assembly line. And weatherproofing plastic will be sealed up, loose ends tied up, and the house is ready to be taken outside, set on temporary loading stands outside, awaiting delivery to your building site.